One Percenter Podcast with Sam Bakhtiar, bringing you the 1% knowledge to help you reach your full potential. Learn what it takes to rise above the 99% and become a 1%er.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the One Percenter Podcast. I got my boy Mark Lack in the house, personal branding expert, marketing expert, and also now you got a TV show. Let's talk about that first, man. Tell me about your TV show. You're just killing it, brother.
Thanks for having me on, bro. Yeah, I was just chatting with you. I said, I got to get you on my show after this. But Business Rockstars is a show that I'm blessed to be part of and be the host of. And it's awesome because it's a little different distribution than the typical show or podcast in our industry, at least. It's on Amazon Prime. It's on the touch screens on the back of airplane seats. It's in hotels. It's on radio. So it's fun because I get to distribute it on social media, but I also get those unique things where people will like message me because they see me on an airplane or they see me at like TV at a hotel or something with my show airing. So Business Rockstars is really cool. I get the unique opportunity to interview billionaires, celebrities, top achievers, and just all around amazing entrepreneurs like yourself, which is why I said I got to get you on my show later.
It'll be an honor, man. So how the heck did you even come up with that? How did that get started? Because I mean, everybody would love to do what you're doing. That's like a dream of having your own show and host your own show. How the heck did you even come up with that? And what is the process of if somebody's looking to have their own show? What's the process of doing that? And is it something anyone can do, or is it something that obviously, you know, it's you got to know the right people?
So there's like 12 questions wrapped up in that.
Yes.
So I'll do my best to try to answer all of them and
Okay.
remember what they are without going too far down the rabbit hole. So yes, everyone can have their own show. The question is why? Why would you want to have a show? What is it going to do for you? How's it going to help people? What's going to make it different? What's going to make it better? Because so many people nowadays have shows, and you can have like what I'm lucky to have because I have investors and co-founders and all these people who really put the whole thing together. You know, we have a fancy studio and, you know, over 30 employees and a headquarters in New York, a headquarters in LA. So it's really cool. It's got distribution. We have actually more than one show. We have, you know, close to a dozen shows. And I'm the host of one of the main ones. So, you know, we have a big set and a big fancy production and unique distribution, but it wasn't always that way. I mean, I just turned 30. So I've been able to, you know, figure out how to make money on the internet. And one of the ways to figuring out how to make money on the internet was building my personal brand. I saw so many different men and women out there who are thought leaders, who are selling different products, different services, and even marketing and selling in totally different ways. So I'm a pattern recognition kind of guy. I recognize the patterns of, you know, like your hat, the one percenters. I recognize what are the patterns, what are the thought patterns, the belief patterns, the habits, the rituals, the business patterns, the marketing patterns. What is the formula for succeeding online? If everyone's selling different products, selling different services, even selling and marketing in totally different ways, how do I succeed? And I started to recognize, yes, you need good sales, and yes, you need good marketing. And if people are not watching this, but they're listening to it, I have a bookshelf behind me with about 1,000 books on it. And I've read close to all of them on sales and marketing and influence and persuasion and psychology. And so I personally always wanted to make a lot of money. And so I studied sales and marketing. And then what I realized was, even when you're really good at sales and marketing, there's a third level that kind of trumps them. It's not that it's better. It's not that it's, you know, it replaces them. You still always need good sales and marketing. But there's another level above that. And I call it personal branding. And you've probably heard personal branding before. And a really quick extreme example of a personal brand would be like an Oprah Winfrey. She's got an extreme personal brand, like at the top level. And that's why she's worth $5 billion. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, is another amazing example of somebody who's crushing it. And probably everybody listening knows who he is. So for me, I started to recognize, and those are extreme examples, I know that. But if you hear about those people's biographies, you realize they didn't start with anything. They worked hard to get there. And so they're inspiring individuals, and they share their journey. And I realized that if you leverage your personal brand on social media, which is nothing more than a combination of sharing what you're doing professionally and what you're doing personally, but with intention, It's not just frivolous sharing, professional and personal. It's intentional sharing that's going to help somebody. So if I'm sharing something in my personal life, it's because I'm thinking, how could what I'm sharing going on in my personal life help an individual who sees this, who listens to this? How could what I'm sharing about my businesses or my expertise or my knowledge or my journey, how could I share that in a way that would help people? And so there's an art to sharing content. in a way that yields a benefit to the audience, whether that's an emotional benefit. I mean, you made me laugh, you made me smile, you made me feel inspired, you made me feel motivated, or whether there's an actual tangible step-by-step action plan for somebody to follow. So they can yield two different types of benefits from your content. And if you do that consistently, you get people to know, like, and trust you. Pretty simple. If you get more people to know, like, and trust you, more people are going to be influenced by you. They're going to be influenced by your recommendations. And if you have your own products and services, a small percentage of those followers will buy. And if you have other people's products and services you want to recommend, like I just did a webinar last night with somebody that I recommended to my customers and my followers, this individual's product. And we did $50,000 yesterday, and half of that's his and half of that's mine. And I share that with you to simply validate my point of, if you build an audience that respects you, that trusts you, they're going to be influenced by you. And I said, hey guys, I recommend this dude's product. It's amazing. Here's a 2-hour presentation from him. And then we did $50,000 in just 2 hours, $50,000 in 2 hours. And it's half mine, half his. And that's just the beginning. The promo's continuing. So, and I'm a small fry compared to like Oprah Winfrey or The Rock, but I'm showing people the point here that if you can build a following, and one of the best ways, in my opinion, tying this all back together, to really build your personal brand and to produce content where you don't have to be the smart expert. You can interview experts like you're doing here. You're humbling yourself and saying, look, I'm really good at a couple things, but let me interview all these people that are great at a lot of other things. Yes. So your audience can experience not just your wisdom and expertise, but they can experience the vast array of all the other experts out there on a variety of different subjects, personally and professionally. And now people are going to look at you and be like, dude, Sam is the man. He just brings all the best people on here. Some episodes will resonate more than others for different audience members. But I really think that a show, a podcast, whatever you want to call it, it's semantics, right? Like you interviewing other people is, I think, one of the best ways to produce content, but for a couple reasons. Primary one, it elevates your authority by surrounding yourself with other experts. So if you don't know me, but you see me interviewing Tony Robbins and, Grant Cardone or Ty Lopez or Gary Vaynerchuk or Ed Milet or Andy Frisella, many of those people are our mutual friends. If you see me interviewing those people and you don't know me, but you know them, and you see that consistently, you're going to be like, who's this Mark Lack guy? He's interviewing all of my favorite thought leaders and experts and people that I already know, like, and trust. So eventually, a percentage of those people are going to start to know, like, and trust me. And it's the fastest way. It's like, if I was going to introduce somebody listening, you listening right now, if I was going to introduce you to somebody and that somebody didn't know you, but they really respected me, it would be much better for me to introduce you to that person than for you to walk up by yourself. And so that's really what it is. It's life. It's the way that people are influenced and persuaded throughout life, is like, if I can, or if more importantly, if you can sit down with a celebrity or a thought leader or an expert who's truly already super well known online, and you can interview them for even 10 minutes. They doesn't have to be hour-long podcast episodes. They can be 10-minute episodes for just drilling in on 2 or 3 key questions. And if you can do that consistently, you can leverage the power of authority alignment, which is aligning yourself with authority figures. You might be a nobody with no knowledge, no expertise, no credibility, no authority. And that's fantastic, because that's how I started. And I just started interviewing celebrities and authorities who already had the results I wanted, already had the expertise I wanted, and that my audience wanted, but I didn't have it. So how could I give something I don't have? I find someone who has it, and I broker and facilitate the knowledge transfer. Let me say that again. I broker and facilitate the knowledge transfer. And so I reach out to these people. They say yes to an interview. Why? Because there's 2 really powerful commodities. The obvious one is money. The second one is attention. Attention is money. That's why people pay $5 million for a Super Bowl commercial. $5 million for a Super Bowl commercial with zero attribution to results or sales. They just frivolously pay it because they have so much money and it's all the big companies. So attention is a commodity. And I've found that wealthy people, celebrities that are already famous and have lots of attention, and even billionaires, they will exchange their very valuable time for an episode that's going to give them attention. But you say, yeah, Mark, that sounds good and all, but I don't have any followers. So what I recommend you do is learn. It only takes about 10 minutes to do. Learn the absolute basics of going on Facebook and Instagram and setting up a Facebook page, giving it a credit card. And then for just $1 a day, you can actually give Facebook $1 and say, show this interview or anything of me any video, any photo, or in this case, we'll use the context of an interview, and pay my $1 to show it to the specific people of my choice. And if I interview Gary Vaynerchuk, and I'm lucky for him to say yes to an interview, I can pay money to Facebook, $1 a day or more, and I can actually get all of Gary Vaynerchuk's followers to see that interview. So the money I'm spending is only going to show my interview with Gary to Gary's followers or Tony Robbins followers or whoever I think might be a good audience match. And now that I know that I can already, like a grand chess master, 12 moves ahead, I can already guarantee that I can get any amount of eyeballs on an interview. I can then reverse engineer that I could go to a celebrity or a person like Gary Vaynerchuk or Tony Robbins, and I could say, when is the right time in your calendar in the next 6 to 12 months where you would get the most value from an interview with me on my show, where I can guarantee 250,000, 500,000, or even, dare I say, 1 million views on the video on Facebook or Instagram alone, plus other distribution networks, because I'm actually going to spend my own money to drive traffic and eyeballs to the interview. And nobody else's interviews do this because they take all their podcast downloads of everyone they've ever done and they say, we have 7 million downloads. Cool. How many am I going to get? And nobody can actually promise or guarantee any number except for past references of what has happened. I can guarantee that if you let me interview you, I can get you 1 million views on one video on Facebook. You'll see the million views. You'll see the thousands of comments, likes, and shares. You'll be tagged in it. You can even share it over to your page with the million views on it. I'll even send you short little sizzle clips. So now you, just like me, can guarantee 1 million views or 250,000 or 500,000 views. You can now go, it's almost like a promissory note or a letter of intent, a letter of commitment. I can now go to somebody or anybody and say, here's my dream 20 interview guests. I'll guarantee every one of you 500,000 views. Just let me know when the interview makes sense for your podcast, your charity, your book launch, your documentary, whatever you have coming out, when the timing lines up with the value of the attention of the value proposition I'm promising. They inevitably, their executive assistant or PR team says, you know what, Tony Robbins is available or Gary Vaynerchuk's available 6 months from now to talk about his upcoming book. And now you know 6 months in advance, Tony has a book coming out. I'm going to interview him. That's when he's going to get the value. Then you get the interview. It could be a 10-minute Zoom call like this. You upload it on your Facebook page, not profile, your page, and you probably have to put a couple $1,000s behind it to get 1 million views. But if you really think about that, a couple $1,000s for 1 million views is nothing. And here's the other cool thing. Tony's willing to exchange his time, maybe 10 or 20 minutes, for 1 million views. And if I know I can get 1 million views with Tony Robbins, I can then go to a sponsor and say, I have an interview with Tony Robbins that's going to get 1 million views. Would you like to pay me $5,000 to be the exclusive sponsor on that episode? The sponsor says, you're going to do an interview with Tony Robbins, get 1 million views. We'd love to be the exclusive and only sponsor for $5,000. Now they give you $5,000 and you use that to get the 1 million views on Tony Robbins' video. And then you plug in, if you want to get a little fancier, because I can go down the rabbit hole here, and how this strategy has made me a multimillionaire in my 20s. And this is all just top of funnel. We can go down the rabbit hole and talk about like business, strategy, marketing. But the next level down from top of funnel is I'm a complete nobody, but I now know I can promise anybody 1 million views. They'll say yes at a future date. I can pre-negotiate in advance the calendar date with 1 million views, then go broker a sponsor to pay me the money upfront in advance. Now the whole thing's done. I have an interview with a famous person. I'm going to get it 1 million views. Instantly, I have 1 million views with a famous person. And then I can plug in a retargeting pixel on the interview. So everybody who watches it, I can now retarget later my offers, my programs, or other interviews. So I'm building this massive retargeting audience from somebody else's authority and credibility and somebody else's money. Boom. And that's the power of a show. And that's one of the ways I've been able to get to where I'm at, is leveraging that strategy.
Whew. Woo! You just dropped $1 million worth of bombs right there.
We don't play games. We don't play games here.
Brother, I'm looking back at all this shit that I fucked up that I need to go back and take a look at. Now, I got a question for you. I'm like, why haven't I talked to you before? You know, so can I, you know, I'm obviously thinking for myself. If somebody is having a podcast, already had the podcast and all these things, and they never use this strategy, can I go back and use it now and take those videos? You know, so let's say I, interview somebody somebody big 6 months ago. Can I take that video now and post it on my Facebook page and drive traffic and still seem to get the benefit?
Yes.
That can be done at any time, right?
At any time, yes.
Brother, we're gonna rewatch this thing about 4 times today with my team, you know, and no wonder you are the marketing expert, the personal branding expert, because I mean, you work with some top celebrities, you know, so a lot of people in our niche that are huge. I mean, I've gone through your website. I've seen that you work with the who's of our industry, man. And that's crazy. That's crazy. So how did you get into personal branding?
So
because you were playing paintball for a while.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. So my, you know, I played professional paintball. Obviously I didn't start professional. I started as a regular person. If you've ever played paintball, I started like that, right? You dress up in the gear, you go out and you get slaughtered. And that was me in the beginning. And then just like anybody, if you become obsessed, if you become passionate, if you never give up, if you fully commit, if you invest in growth and access to mentors and coaches who can make you better, if you get 1% better every day, like that's all I did. And I got coaches, I got mentors, I worked on my body, I worked on my mind, everything that you could do to get better in every single area. Because that's what I found is the pro level, the difference between first place and second place, a lot of the times is a fraction of a percent if it's a race. And even on the scoreboard, it's a fraction of a percent better. And so that's the difference. Like at the pro level, it's not huge, giant differences. It's little differences. Yeah. I'm just a little bit different, but I'm 1% better than you at everything. And that adds up to me being number one. And so in paintball, that was me. I learned what it took to be the best in the world. I became top 10 in the entire planet of almost 8 billion people. I was top 10 in the world at professional paintball, weirdly enough. And I made $300,000 in cash in high school playing paintball, which was really cool. I got to make, you know, multiple 6 figures in high school playing professional paintball. I got to travel 250,000 miles around the world in high school for free. That's to Paris, crazy. London, Belgium, Germany, Amsterdam, Canada, 42 out of the 50 states in America. So it was really cool. And then it led to me being like, yo, I got to be the best in the world at something else now, because I tapped paintball out and I was like, this is whack. I'm the best in the world and I'm not a millionaire. I should have been the best in the world at tennis or soccer or something that I could be like actually famous and actually wealthy. And I was like, dang, I became the best in the world at something so silly. It's just like a hobby, like a profession, like the world's best fisherman. You know what I mean? I was like, you know, I'm only making like 6 figures. So I was like, I need to go and I need to become the best in the world at something that has zero limit, zero unlimited potential. Like there's no cap. And I was like, you know what that is? Business. Entrepreneurship. There's no limit. You can become a trillionaire. And I was like, I'm going to get into business. And so how do you make money in business? Sales and marketing. So I became obsessed with sales and marketing. On my journey to sales and marketing, that led me to recognizing that personal branding was what I noticed to be the differentiating factor. I was like, you could be the smartest, best kept secret in the world, but if no one knows you, you're broke. And a lot of us know a super smart person who's probably smarter than us.
A lot of them.
There's you and I especially, right? We know way too many people that are so smart. They just don't have the money that's in proportion to their intelligence.
Yes.
And so it's sad to see because, you know, you're like, wow, working hard doesn't necessarily make you wealthy. It's a part of the equation. But I also know people who work way harder than me and they're also broke. And I'm like, so wait, you can be smarter than me and work harder than me and still be broker than me. So what is the formula? And I realized one of the like shortcuts to success, and I hate to say that word, so we can find another synonym for that word, but like one of the ways to skip chapters in the book, right, is to quickly jump to chapter 12, whatever that metaphor means, a higher level of financial well-being for your family, for your impact that you want to have in the world, like the way to faster achieve the things you want, I found was to just get more known. If the smartest guy was more known, he could charge more money. If the hardest worker was in more demand because more people knew about how good they were, they'd make more money. The problem is a lot of the smartest and hardest workers, no one knows them because guess what? There's a lot of smart people and there's a lot of hard workers. And because they're so focused on being smart and working hard, they forget about actually getting people to know how smart and how hard they work. And so then you're just the best kept secret and the hardest worker in the room, but no one knows you. And that's what I realized is you can be the dumb person and be successful. You can be the not hard of a worker and be successful. And I was like, not that I want to be dumb or not a hard worker, but like, damn, if I can just jump up to success and be dumb and not have to work hard, what's that formula? Because everybody thinks the formula. And by the way, I've invested millions of dollars in getting to where I'm at. And my My bookshelf of 1,000 books behind me is more than 100 people read in a lifetime. So I'm all about working smart.
No,
And,
yeah,
and
but you want to find the lowest hanging fruit. We all do.
yeah. And personal branding was the thing that I saw online. I was like, if I can just get more known, if I can just get more people to like and trust me, I'll have more influence. And if I have more influence, I'll get more partnerships, I'll get more sponsorships, I'll get more opportunities, I'll get more clients, more customers. Everything starts to fall in place when you're the number one person in your industry. That doesn't mean you're necessarily the best. Geico Insurance is not necessarily the best, but they're the biggest. Coca-Cola is not necessarily the best drink on the market, but it's the biggest. McDonald's is not necessarily the best cheeseburger or food on the planet, but it's the biggest. And so just because you're the best doesn't mean you're the biggest or the most successful. But being the biggest usually means you're the most successful. And so how do you become the biggest? Why does everybody on here know the name Coca-Cola? That's why they're the biggest. Why does everyone on here know the name Geico Insurance or McDonald's? Because they're the biggest, because they do branding, they do advertising, they get out there and they get known and they get people to understand the perception of what they're trying to do. I'm loving it. Open a bottle of happiness. And so you have to brand yourself and you have to market it and you have to get it out there in the world, because otherwise you're going to be like so many of the people you and I know. You're the smartest, hardest worker in the room and you're broke and you can't take care of your family, or you can't live at the potential you want. You can't make the donations you want. You can't spoil your children and your wife or your significant other the way you want. And you just don't have the choices. Money is choices. Money is decisions. And I want to have the decision to help who I want, do what I want, when I want, with who I want, how I want. And so I think personal branding is what I found. This is my experience, my opinion, my research. But I've had people banging paths to my doorway to try to work with me, from celebrities to billionaires to centimillionaires. And then most importantly, those people are easy to help, by the way. Those people are easy to help because I say, if you're already well-known, you're already successful, and you have a checkbook to write, you can make almost everything happen way faster. Yep. So when I help celebrities or people make way more money or launch a program or something, it's easy. I'm telling you guys right now, it's super cool to have people like that. It's humbling, but it's easy. They're already famous and rich. That's easy to help. What I pride myself on is I can take Joe Schmo and I can help make him more successful than he is today. I can help him make his first 10 grand a month, 20 grand a month, or even $1 million in a year. And I've done that with over 6,000 people in my community. And that's what I pride myself more on, because I was that Joe Schmo. And in some way, that's still inside of me. I'm still that regular, humble guy who grew up in Tustin, where you probably never even heard of. And so, yeah, it's like, you probably do. You're smiling from Orange County. So yeah, dude, like I found personal branding is the key, but personal branding is content marketing. You still need this other part of the equation, which is direct response advertising, which means now that you know me from my content, I need to make call to actions to products and services that can help you and my audience. And that's where the real money gets made. So the two together is the overlap and the intersection of content marketing, which is personal branding, and advertising and direct response marketing, which is where the sales and the offers get made. The overlap, the intersection of those two is where the magic happens. And that's where I pride myself on being the best, one of the best in the whole world at finding the formula for you and your business to build your personal brand and then attach it with different offers and services that can help people.
Now, I think I know the answer to this, but who needs a personal brand?
Well, the funny thing is, we all already have a personal brand.
You're going to say that.
And so, yeah, we already have a personal brand. Your personal brand is your reputation. Your personal brand is, if I asked your last employer what they thought about you, that's your personal brand. Your personal brand is if I asked your best friend if I should invest in your idea or business, and he says he's a really good guy, but he's not the best at blah, 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 so I wouldn't. And that's what your friend says behind your back. They're like, so it's like, what? It's like, that's your reputation. That's your personal brand. That's what people say about you behind your back and to your face. That's what people are commenting. That's what people are saying. That's why you didn't get the deal. That's why you did get the deal. Your personal brand is everything. It's everything. It's like when I go look you up online and I see that you're non-existent, or I have a photo from 7 years ago when you doing a keg stand or a beer bong, like that's your personal brand. Like if you look me up, I've worked for 7 years to build my reputation. So when you look me up online, like here I am chilling at my house and in my office at my home. But like when you look me up online, you're like, oh, this guy, you see the personal side of me with my wife, traveling the world and doing all these fun things and making a difference. But then you also see the professional side of me. and you're like, oh, this guy's credible, he's trustworthy, he's legit, he has success, he has a track record, he's helped lots of regular people, and he's helped lots of celebrities. And you can see the brand that I want you to see, but it's not all professional. It's also personal, because that's what the personal side of the personal brand means. It's literally in the word, personal. It's not professional brand, it's your personal brand. And so you need to have the personal side of you, the authentic side of you, the real side of you. The same side of you that your friends and your family and your colleagues get to see is the side that the world should see. And that's what makes people trust you. That's where the connection and the rapport happens. So I believe that your personal brand is what happens when I look you up, what happens when I ask somebody about you, and all those things I rifled off. So you already have a personal brand. The question is, just like any resource or tool, how are you going to use it? This cell phone here, you have one. The difference is I make millions with mine. What do you do with yours? We still have the same tool. You have the internet, but you watch YouTube videos. I have the internet, but I run YouTube ads. And so we still have the same tools and resources. I use mine differently. And that's a personal brand. You have one, but are you using it the right way?
Yeah. I love it, man. I love it, man. I think everybody has a personal brand, whether they like it or not. Now, you inspired me, because I was watching some of your shows and I was watching some of your, thing that you talked about, that you have to share your journey. You also have to, a lot of times on social media, everybody always talks about their wins.
Yes.
Nobody ever talks about their losses.
Of course.
And it's so funny, man. I know from my perspective, every time that I post a win, okay, it's cool. It gets some engagement. People are happy with you. But when I post a loss, my engagement goes through the roof, because nobody talks about that. Everybody wants to look cool on social media. Everybody wants to say, hey, I'm winning at life. They never post their losses. Tell us why it's so important for us to share our journey, and why it's important for us to be as transparent as possible to show, hey, man, I'm not the perfect guy. I have bad days. I'm going through stuff right now, and how important that is for us to do.
You nailed it on the head right there. And I'll elaborate and add to that. Not everybody. So this is a big one here. Everybody loses, but not everybody wins. And so when you post your win, you immediately have everybody following you who can't relate, except for maybe the 1%. And so you got to recognize, when you're only posting wins, you're probably most likely doing it from a place of ego. We all have ego. It's not, I don't care. Like, I work on myself hard. Like, I work on myself. I'm very aware. And sometimes we let our emotions get in the way, or sometimes we're triggered, and we have different days in biochemistry, and we, speak differently during different times. And so you might feel in the mood to post a win or a brag. Now, there's two different ways to do it. One is just posting it because some little part of you is posting it to kind of flex and let people know, like, yo, here I am. And then the other part of you, the other way that you could do it is you should tell people, here's the win I just had, but I can remember just 5 years ago when I was sleeping on a couch. I can remember 10 years ago, 15 years ago, when I didn't even have $1 in my pocket, and I was scrubbing toilets, and I was the janitor, and I was taking out the trash, and I was working 4 jobs just to get by. And I can remember the pain, the adversity, the struggle. And I never thought I'd be buying a Bentley. I never thought I'd be on a yacht. I never thought I'd take my wife on a private jet to around the world. I never thought I would have achieved this thing I'm sharing with you, because I was once here. So if you're somewhere in between here, I'm letting you know, keep going. I'm letting you know you still have a chance. I'm letting you know if you don't give up, then the universe isn't going to give up. I'm letting you know that you can achieve anything that you want, because I was once here, and now I'm sharing this with you. So hopefully that inspires you to know that wherever you are in the spectrum right now, whatever season of life or business or success you're in, you've got a chance. Keep going. Don't give up. That's the way that you share a success, a win, a W. Because now it makes people inspired. Now it makes you seem like the hero's journey, and the hero's journey always has a fall in it. If they just had Superman and the Avengers always win, you'd be like, these movies are stupid, because I can't relate. I'm not a superhero who always wins. I'm a superhero who fails and comes back up and triumphs, and fails and comes back up and triumphs, and never gives up. And that's why we like the hero's journey. That's why every movie that's successful and famous follows it. At some point, the hero has a fall, or in the very beginning of the hero's journey, they were the peasant, the peon in the beginning, and then something happens and they triumph and become the hero. And so you need to remind people, when you're sharing your wins, that you've had that moment. And so when you do share a win, you need to go back and let people know, I share this with you because I can remember that it wasn't always like this. I share this with you because I want to inspire you that if you're where I once was, keep going. And so that's the way that you share a win. But remember, everybody loses, not everybody wins. So that's why it's a formula that you or me or anybody, when you share a loss, more people support you than when you share a win.
I love that, man. I love that how, you can flex without flexing. Tell a story behind
flex.
it. Yes, inspirational flex. I like it, man. I like it. So what do you see right now that a lot of people are doing wrong? Trying to, I'm sure, you're the guru when it comes to personal branding. You know everything there, and you see somebody who's trying to build their personal brand, and it's like it's like somebody who is an expert at restaurants and goes to a restaurant, and you can kind of pick it apart. Oh my God, you're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong. So what do you usually see when somebody's trying to build their personal brand? I'm sure you're like, oh my God, what is this guy doing? I wish he can hire me so I can help him because he's totally doing this wrong.
Yeah.
What do you see that most people are doing wrong right now building their personal brand?
So as you said, there's a lot of different variables and potentials. Some of the big ones though, is they don't have any actual intention of how there's a flow. There's no flow. There's no means to an end. They just kind of do the activity. And it's almost like, I guess a way of putting it would kind of be, but it's a weird analogy, like your health. Like you're just being healthy, but you don't really have maybe an end goal. Like what are you actually arriving at, or what's the intention? You're just going through the rituals of being healthy, which is a good thing, by the way. But it's not a good thing with your personal brand. I'm posting content, Mark. I'm doing podcasts, Mark. I'm interviewing people. I'm adding value. But I don't seem to actually be making any progress. I don't seem to be, and I go, well, what is the goal? What are you trying to do? And most of the time, they either do know, and then we can identify where the gap is, or they don't know. And I'm like, so if you do know, I can tell you why you're not there. But if you don't know, that's the other big issue, right? Like the Cheshire Cat, like, I'm lost. Where are you going? I don't know. Well, then you're not lost. And so it's like, you don't actually have a problem with your personal brand if you're not achieving something, but you don't even know what you're trying to accomplish. Like, are you trying to get famous? Are you trying to build a certain amount of schools? Are you trying to earn a certain amount of money? Are you trying to help 1,000 people make their first $1 million? Like, do you have a mission? Do you have a purpose? Do you have a vision? And it's very clear when certain people come on the internet and they say, my goal, like Tony Robbins, is to feed 1 billion lives. I want to feed 1 billion humans. And that's what he says all the time. And he's like, I'm at 350 million people fed right now. That's one of his biggest goals. And so he's always talking about that. Every interview, everything, every product, every program, it always ties back to, and this is going to help us feed 100 million people, which puts us on track to be at 450 million, so that in 7 years, I'll have fed 1 billion people. And he's got that thing, and that keeps him going, that keeps him hungry. And so like for me, my personal brand is a means to an end. It's to help me create the impact I want in the world. It's to help me achieve the financial freedom and wealth and passive income I want, and give me all the opportunities. My personal brand is a tool. It's a resource. Everything I'm doing is just because I'm playing 12 moves ahead. I know where I'm going to be in 10 years. I know where I'm going to be down the road with my finances, my philanthropy, everything. So my personal brand is a vehicle. It's a resource. It's a tool. It's not, oh, I'm doing my personal brand because I'm trying to make money this month. Oh, I'm doing my personal brand because I'm trying to become a millionaire. Like, no, my personal brand is a giant puzzle piece to what my entire life's goal and purpose and mission in life is. And I almost died in June. Ironically, it's June now. I almost died in June of 2018 from a rare infection in my blood called sepsis. And that gave me some big perspective from God, from the universe, whatever your beliefs are. And it basically let me know, like, look, if you're going to live, stop making it about money. If you're going to live, stop making it about you. And if you need a reminder how fast I can take everything away from you and you can lose it all, here's what sepsis is like. And so that for me was just like, it was like, wow. In 2018, my success just started to take off. I just started to be like, this is what being a millionaire feels like. Okay. And so I needed a little humility, a little humbleness, a little reset. And because you start making millions in your 20s, right? Sometimes you're like, oh, this is cool. And so for me, life was going my way. Everything was perfect. And then sepsis hit me. And it was an amazing experience. And it reminded me of the things that matter. The love you give, the love you receive. It sounds cliche. It sounds corny, but when you're on your deathbed, all that matters is the people you have in your life. not your money, not your goals, not your achievements. All that matters is the people you have in your life. And all that matters is your health. And you don't realize those things until you're about to lose them. When you're about to lose someone you love, when you're about to lose your health, you realize all that matters is those you love and your health. And then the other stuff comes into play, the money, the goals, the achievement. But sometimes we forget to make the priorities that really matter a priority. And we focus on the goals and the money and the achievement. So for me, my personal brand is also to inspire others to remember what matters most in life and to not just focus on the money and the achievements and the followers and the personal brand, but how does your personal brand actually help you do the number one thing that fulfills people in life? Contribution. If your personal brand is about more than you and your followers and your money, but it's about how you can help somebody, how you can help one person every day through this podcast. I don't care if 99% of people listening to this, I doubt this will be the case, but I don't care if 99% of people hate this, as long as one person was inspired, one person took action, one person launched a show, one person goes out and makes more money, one person does something from this, then I did my job. Because I'm that one person who listened to Tony Robbins 10 years ago, 12 years ago, and it changed my life. I'm the one person. There's a lot of people who know Tony Robbins, but not everybody can say, that guy changed my life and made me a multi-millionaire in my 20s because he was the spark. He was the flame. If I'm the spark or the flame for one person out there who goes out and achieves their biggest life's goals and missions and creates huge contribution in the world, then I did my job. And my personal brand is that. My personal brand is an extension of my biggest life's goals, mission, and purpose. And I think that you don't need to have your life or death moment like I did in the hospital, where the God in the universe literally was like, you've got more to do. You're not going to die here. 1 out of 4 people who get sepsis, 1 out of 4 people who get it die, 25%. Worse odds than Russian roulette, the gun in your mouth. And so for me, it was like, God said, you're not going to die. You have more to do, but this is going to be a reminder. This is going to be a lighthouse that you can always look back and say, anytime I think I'm stressed or something's off, I can just remind myself, I'm alive, I'm breathing, I'm healthy, I got people who love me, I'm good. Nothing else actually really matters. Then I can take a deep breath and I can center myself back from a place of love and try to actually help people. Because I found, this is my own beliefs from my own experience, but if you try to come from a place where you're always trying to help other people, life usually works out your way. When you come from a place of, how can I get what I want from this person? Life usually doesn't always go your way. But when you come from a place of, I'm here on this interview to give away everything I possibly can based on the questions Sam asked me, not holding anything back, stuff that people pay me a lot of money for, they'll hear this and be like, he said it for free on here. Because I'm always trying to serve. I'm always trying to help. And I'm not trying to hold anything back. And if your personal brand comes from that place where you're trying to help people, I think you're doing the right stuff. And that's the kind of people I want to work with.
Brother, man, you dropped so much nuggets, man. I didn't expect this. I expected a great interview, but I didn't expect this today, man. And I literally, this has become one of those interviews that I gotta, go watch it over and over again. And man, I'm blown away. Mark, so what are you excited about? What are you working on next? And can you tell us where people can find more information about you, where they can contact you? If somebody wants to work on their personal brand, are you taking any more people right now? Because I know you must be as busy as all you can be with all the knowledge that you have. I want to contact you, matter of fact. So tell us about that.
Yeah, brother. Thank you. I've got a couple really exciting projects going on. I'm really big into investing right now. There's different stages of wealth creation that I'm sure you've heard about, the listeners right now, or hopefully you discover this on your journey. But it's really like learning how to make money, learning how to save it, learning how to manage it, and learning how to invest it so it can make you money, so that you're not working for money, but your money works for you. So my money makes me money instead of me having to go make money. And so I'm at that stage right now, which is really fun. I'm doing all of them. I'm always doing all of them, but like, it's fun to be where there's right now so much unique times in the world where there's a lot of opportunity for investments and a lot of things are going on sale and a lot of things are discounted. And, when most people are being fearful, like Warren Buffett says, when most people are fearful, that's when you want to take advantage. But when most people are taking advantage, that's when you want to be fearful. And so right now, most people are fearful. So I'm looking to take advantage of this opportunity to invest, to capitalize. And more wealth is transferred during chaotic periods of time like right now. And I want that wealth to be transferred my way because I know I have a vision for how I plan to use it. And so I'm excited about the investment opportunities in the world. And just as a little mantra of mine is read what you need, based on the time of the season you're in. And so for me, I was like reading all these books on business and growth. And I was like, I don't need that right now. I need to start reading books on the stock market. I need to start reading books on the economy, the Federal Reserve, the global market, stuff that I know a little bit about conceptually, but not intellectually super smart on. So I stopped reading all of those books. I went on Amazon. I bought 20 of the best books in the world on everything I just said. And now every day I wake up and I just smash the books and I just start reading about Federal Reserve, the economy, how the world works, inflation, like interest rates. Like I'm studying all of this stuff right now so that I can get a better understanding when I'm about to put a bunch of money in the market, how I can be an intelligent investor, a strategic investor, and not just like be the guy that put his money into something and lost it. And then I'm like, oh, that was stupid of me. I put my money in something I didn't know anything about. And so that's what I'm excited about. It's fun because like you, I'm always a student. I'm always learning. I'm always growing, and I'm always going into new seasons. So the season I'm in right now, I'm still having my multi-million-dollar business, which is a blessing. And then I'm looking at investing because I don't want to be like everybody has this moment in their life. Can you imagine if you put 10 grand in Amazon in 2001? Can you imagine if you won the lottery? And I was like, I am not going to be the guy who says, can you imagine if in 2020 during the pandemic you invested? Can you imagine? And so I'm like, no, I can't imagine because I did, Sam. I did put $1 million on that. I did put 100 grand on that. I did put 50 on that. And I turned it into 20 million. And so I can't imagine, and you can too, but you got to do the work. You can't sit on the sidelines and say, can you imagine? But then you just didn't do the work. So I'm doing the work. I'm really excited about it. And it's what I'm advising everyone here to always do. Always be a student. Always find people who've achieved what you want and learn. This is a big one. Learn to capitalize on opportunity. Personal branding was an opportunity that I capitalized on first 7 years ago before anybody was really talking about it. They were doing it, but they weren't talking about it. I capitalized on that industry and that niche 7 years ago, and it's made me a multi-millionaire in my 20s. I just turned 30, and now I'm learning to invest and capitalize on another opportunity because I think the timing of opportunities in life, they come and they go, and you have to learn when to spot it, when to capitalize on it, and when to shift. Right now, a lot of opportunity to capitalize on. And so I'm excited most about that. My business is amazing. It's cherry. It's growing. I got lots of fun stuff there, but I'm most excited about how I can use my business to capitalize on opportunity right now and hopefully inspire others here to do the same.
Wow. So read what you need. I love that. I love that. You know, that was a nugget that went right here. So curious, what was your process? Did you go to Amazon and just looked up books on investing, books on stock market? How do you vet books out as based on the reviews and how many reviews and what the stars are? Just curious, because I'm like, that's a great idea. I should go do that.
Yeah. Usually I just do it based on reviews. I think it's just a reflection of how biased people are by reviews. You wouldn't buy something. You wouldn't buy the book with one review. You'd buy the book with 1,000 reviews. And so, you know, I, just like you, am influenced by lots of amounts of social proof. And so when I see 2,000 people gave the book 5 stars, I buy it. And I'm not too prideful to not buy the book called, How to Invest in the Stock Market for Beginners, because I am a beginner. Now I'm a multi-millionaire beginner, but I'm still a beginner. So I bought and sometimes the beginner books, the basics, are the best thing ever.
Best books. Yes, the fundamentals.
Books. And so I saw, you know, even as a relatively successful person, I was like beginner, and I felt my ego say I'm not a beginner. And then I was like, shit, I'm a beginner. So I was like,
at stock market,
And so I was like, this book's got 5 stars, and so I bought all the beginner books, and then I bought the intermediate, and then I bought the advanced. And I ain't cheating. I'm starting at the beginning. I'm reading the beginner books, and I'm going all the way up to the advanced. Just like all these books behind me are on sales and marketing. You don't think I heard a lot of the same shit? I did, but that's the thing, is like, I know all of the stuff, which is why you can tell just free flow rifling stuff off here. It's like when you read your stuff, you know, somebody knows their stuff. And for me, I'm just reading all the best books I can from beginner to advanced on not just, here's the thing. If you just read stock markets, you're missing out on the other part of the equation. The Federal Reserve, interest rates, the global economy. The stock books might tell you about stock picking, but they might not tell you about the other things that dramatically influence the stock market. So I'm also reading all of the other stuff as well. Kind of like, you know, you're only focused on one side of the equation, but then there's a whole nother side that most people don't talk about. And so I'm focused on both sides, and I'm just buying all of the books that I possibly can. And then when you buy one, It says also recommended or purchased, and because Amazon's the best at that. And then I buy all of those. And I'm just buying all the best books. And then if I find an author that I really like, usually at the end of that book, it recommends all their other books because they're smart. And then I go and I buy the books that make the most sense to buy. And then before you know it, I have another 1,000 books, but they're all about investing, where these books are all about making money, ironically, and the next books are all about investing. So I'll have a whole separate bookshelf.
I love it. Mark, tell us where we can find and get to know you more and get more information about everything that you have to offer.
So whether you want to watch some of my show, Business Rockstars, whether you want to learn about our programs, or whether you want to follow me on social media, all of that is at Shorten The Gap, shortenthegap.com. Or you can just type in Mark Lack on social media and I'll pop up.
Wow, man. All right, man. You guys, man, I don't know if this interview didn't blow you away, because it certainly has blown me away. And I don't say that from all the interviews, but this is, you're a young, very smart, very calculated person that you get a very complex, subject, and you break it down into steps that everyone can follow. And man, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. Guys, you guys are going to love this show. Make sure you subscribe, share, post it out everywhere. And you know what? Just take it and put a couple of $1,000 on Facebook ads on it. That's what I'm going to do with this, folks. And I'm going to talk to you about it more, offline. Brother, I appreciate you being on there, man. God bless you and keep changing lives.
Thanks, brother. You too. Appreciate you for having me on.
Hey guys, if you like today's episode, do me a huge favor. Go and leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, leave me a review, and tag a few friends that you think can benefit from what we shared today. Really appreciate it. God bless.